Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 85 Studios podcast, Season 1, Episode 6. We have a special guest here, the one, the only, Mr. Drew, the Drew Man himself. My bro, how you doing?
Yeah, it's been fun. I gotta tell you, it's been fun coming down here and seeing you. It's the first time I've seen you since I was a KU student, and that was a bunch of years ago, it feels like now.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a really long time, and I'll be honest with you, I really missed you. And Troy's really missed you, Troy Boy. Troy Boy actually couldn't be here right now because he's actually working, but he does give his regards, and we're going to go ahead and do Season 1, Episode 6 with a special guest, and that is my other bro, the Drew Man himself.
Oh yeah, the thing here too is last time I seen Troy, he helped me move up to Hastings, Nebraska, where I live now. I work in television. I'm a producer behind the scenes, so I put all the shows, stack them together, and time them out and everything like that. It's exhausting work sometimes, but the first day when Troy was helping me move, literally, he went helping me move all the furniture, and I couldn't have done it without him. And the next day I had to work, so we didn't really get to hang out. It was like the next day, and I was so tired. I was like trying to pay attention during training, and it was like, oh my god, I can't do this.
I mean, it's kind of a bummer. You know, we never have time to see each other and hang out, and when we do, it's always for a specific thing, and then we live so far away, we basically have to, go and do back home and do our own thing again, And with Andrew, the Drew Man here, he lives out in Nebraska, and that's good. How far would you say that is from us?
Took about 3 hours to drive down here, and it all looks the same. Like the only reason you can tell you're in Kansas from Nebraska is that sign that says "Welcome to Kansas."
Well, they don't call it Flatland for nothing, I guess.
Yeah, and other than that, it all kind of runs together and looks the same. Like I could have missed that sign and still thought I was in Nebraska. Wow. It's really like
don't blink or you'll miss it.
Well, yeah. It just blends together. It's totally.
They don't call it flyby country for nothing.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, we grow a lot of grain and stuff like that. We got a lot of wheat fields and stuff out here. But Nebraska, you guys are the corn huskers.
Oh man, and where I work is like in the middle of a cornfield, so we hear frogs and crickets, and it's like the wilderness, but like the corn wilderness. So it's just like one day I was doing my thing, and I work overnight. I work at night, and I heard a frog. And that was the most distracting thing in the world. I was like, where is that a frog? Where is that coming from? Ribbit.
I can imagine. And then it's like, oh, I'm a Caribbean amphibian here, and I'm going to interrupt your newscast here. I'm looking for Miss Piggy, and,
We got breaking news.
Breaking news from the aisle.
Yeah, but we get them all. We get like spiders, grasshoppers. We had the last summer, it was the invasion of the moths last summer. It was unbelievable. Like, it was so distracting. And the person I work with, she's like terrified of like moths and bugs and stuff.
I never understood how anybody could be afraid of bugs. I just don't get it.
Yeah, well, I told her...
They're not going to bite you.
Well, I told her, don't worry, the spiders will take care of those bugs, so we'll be fine. That's what I told her.
Oh,
that was the
wrong thing. You felt wonderful about that.
Oh, that was the wrong thing to say.
Oh, God. Yep.
But no, so anyways, yeah, so she's sitting there, like, trying to be, like, straightforward and talking and just, like, set in stone. And then off camera, she's like, oh, my God, get away!
That's some acting. She needs an Oscar for that one. That's some seriously good acting. Like, today in news, a car flipped over and took out a bus. Secretly in her head, she's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. There's a moth. Oh my god,
what do
spider. What do I do?
But it was bad. Like there was so many. And our weather guy, he moved on to Colorado, but he was like, is that a moth? Just on air, like, is that a moth? That's a moth, isn't it?
Hey.
Anyways, forecasters. Get
to the point here, guys. We're doing weather. Hey, we're doing weather. We're live.
Oh man, it was real bad. But no, in Nebraska, anyways. boy, it wasn't really too much of a culture shock from Kansas because a lot of the same stuff happens. Like, kind of everybody knows everyone, kind of real community based. It's not like Topeka where it's just crime, full of crime.
Yeah, that would be something that, like even in Denver, I mean, I
Oh,
had this issue
man.
with you can't walk down the street. I mean, and especially at night, without somebody putting a knife to your throat or something,
Well,
that's
yeah,
scary.
and
And
Topeka, yeah, it was. I mean, every night, every other night or weekend, you'd hear shots. You'd hear
oh
echoing
God.
of like gunshots,
Oh
and it's
yeah, and
like,
we had a little bit of that there
dude,
too. Not too far from Five Points. I think
boy,
most of my audience is aware of the story where the gun shot. Somebody shot through our wall and hit our TV. And
jeez,
we live not
yeah,
too far from Five Points, and Five Points is one of the worst places out there. But Topeka, unfortunately, when you
yeah,
have a small town and you have all these
exactly.
people together, and you have other people that are from smaller towns like us, we're not used to that, and so a lot of times we'll make mistakes and go out somewhere where somebody is
Yeah.
not being legit, and we can actually get hurt, and
Well,
that's
it's
really not good.
not just that. I mean, it's getting ripped off, getting
Oh yeah,
robbed. I mean,
yeah.
that's. But, anyways, coming back home, anyways, just brings back a lot of memories. Like the town. Last time I come through here, the town's changed a lot.
Yeah.
Like it's like the new generation just took it over, and now that one bank on First Street here is a Domino's,
Oh,
which
I'll
I
tell you something that was really bad
just kind of
too.
weird.
Now I was looking at a house out there in Galva, and you know how you remember the old trailer house that we used to live
Oh
in out in
yeah,
Galva?
yeah.
It's a field now. It's gone. And
Like,
that's where Troy was born. I was going to show Troy the trailer where he was actually his first house after he was
really?
born. It is
Wow.
gone. It is literally a field of grass. I think it might have that wheat field that used to be right next door
Right.
might have taken over, and now I mean the apartments are still there, but
Yeah.
the road, I can't remember what road that was.
Crilly Street.
Well,
Or
yeah,
what was that? Is that what it
I think it
was?
was. I think you're right.
It's been too long
It's
ago.
the only thing there, and that's really distracting. But it's the only thing that's there. It's all the way up to the road.
Wow.
So like I think the dirt road that the park was like the trailers were aligned to is still there,
Yeah.
but there are no houses there, and like everything is just grass where they were. So
Whoa.
yeah.
That's crazy. Well, here's the thing I noticed. Like I went back there several years ago,
Hmm.
like back in must have been 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. And I used to think when I was like a little kid that this road was like forever, felt like to
Oh
walk.
yeah.
And then I go over there and it's like this little tiny road that's not even a block. I'm like, God dang, my legs were short back
I
then.
always thought that
It's a
was really
little,
weird too. Like the older we get, we think
it's like
that an
nothing.
area is like really huge when we're kids, but then like as we get
It's like
older,
it's
it's
like
like
nothing.
from here to Hutchinson's 22 miles, right? Well, it's not even that far. I wouldn't want to walk it, but I could walk to Galva, and that's 5 miles.
It's amazing that now you're doing the call center stuff.
Yeah,
And I used
yeah.
to do call center stuff. And it feels like we can relate on that
Oh
level now
yeah.
because, I'll tell you a funny call that I had was we used to take care of this company. It's called JPay, which
JPay?
was basically it's the family members of people who are incarcerated who give money to people who are locked up.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
and then they have to do that through JPay, but they still pay like money, but they get like I guess it's like jail bucks or something, so to speak.
Huh.
So, anyways, it confused me when I first heard it too. I was like, "Well,
So
I'll
like
take care
jail
of them."
pay, JPay, jail pay.
Kind of like that. But so, anyways, this guy called up and he was saying something like, "Yeah, my girlfriend's locked up, and well, I've been giving her stamps, or what they call stamps, which was like an email for each letter. It was like
Oh
an
yeah.
amount of money that they had to pay for each letter. So it's really messed up. But they can send emails back and forth. He goes, well, I've been giving her money, but she hasn't sent me any emails. But yet it
Huh.
says that she's out of money or out of stamps. And he says, he's like, I wonder what's
Huh.
going on. Do you think she's getting my stuff? And I said, well, she may be. And he goes, well, it says she's out.
She's
So
out.
well, out as in like out of stamps. Like she's been
Oh
emailing somebody, just not him.
Okay.
And then so this guy says something like, he goes, "Why do you think that is?" And I'm like, do you think she's still like, do you think she's like emailing somebody else?
Well, sir, I'm not really allowed to speculate, but I have my suspicions.
Well, and my thing there was, I was like, sir, I really, this is not the right call service for you, I don't think.
I don't think I'm going to be able to help you with this,
Yeah,
sir.
this isn't Loveline. I'm sorry, but this isn't Loveline.
Unable to provide support.
Yeah, this isn't what we
This is out of my scope.
like. Yeah, we don't do that kind of service. we aren't those kind of. I wish I had a degree in that and could really help you. I'd be paid a lot more.
You need psychology,
Yes.
or marriage counseling. That would help greatly.
Some of those calls were interesting. We had a guy that was from Wichita call up one day, and it was suspicious. It was sketchy as hell too, because he's like, this isn't my credit card, but I want to give money to this person, and I want to give money to this person also, but this isn't my credit card. He just kept saying that.
Oh yeah.
So
I've had things like that too.
Yeah, and I was like, I had to put in a report, like, yeah, well, we can do that, and then the report, I'm typing it up, and meanwhile I'm talking, I'm like,
possible fraud.
yeah, possible fraud.
Clickety clackety click.
Yep. Like the whole time, yep, fraud.
Yeah.
I think he stole his credit card.
So unfortunately, I can't really give a whole lot of stories or anything that's really true about my job at the call center currently, because I'm actually currently doing it. So I can definitely relate, because I've seen some instances like that where things are just weird. Strange calls.
I mean, call center work, to me, it was really, oh my gosh, never in a million years I think I was going to be someone's like psychologist or marriage counselor.
Oh, they do it with us too. They really do.
I'm like, dude, this, they only pay me like 10 something an hour here. It's not like they don't pay me to do that.
The one that stands out to me that I guess I could talk a little bit about it, but I can't really say anything really.
I don't want to get you in trouble or nothing, but
well, I had somebody call that he wanted me to turn off a certain feature on a device that he said that the aliens had implanted into his head that was tracking him.
What?
He then, so I played along with it, because we got to get the information, So what version of the operating system are you running on this device? And then I asked him what the serial number for the device was that they had implanted in his head. He says, I don't know how to get that information. I said, okay, well, what you want to do is go to settings, tap on your name, and then tap on this, that, and the other thing. Tap on general, tap on about, and he's like, I don't know how to tap. I'm like, well, then I'm sorry, I can't really help you with that. Unfortunately.
Oh, man.
He's started getting really
so
mad.
bad.
But every once in a while I'll get some crazies come through that they just
it's like
I don't know if they're actually like serious about the call,
right,
or if they're just like joking, or if they're bored and just need somebody to talk to, or what the deal is with that.
So the other thing that stands out every time I come back here is I used to work at the store over there. I used to work at the store on the east side of town, the Walmart store. Well, some of those characters, oh my god, that was it was unforgettable.
Are they like still there?
Well, I didn't stop in there. I just didn't really, it's too many. There's memories in there that are kind of, just kind of want to forget about. But
yeah,
the one that's,
I get it.
The thing was, when I worked there was a guy, and it's funnier as I'm older, it's funnier to think about.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was funny too, though. So this guy was like 28 years old. I worked with. And he had this little thin, wispy, like, beard. I might have told you this story, but he had this, like, thin, wispy beard that was, like, kind of, like, really, like, looks really thin, and he's all bragging about, yeah, it took me 5 years to grow this.
Really?
And I was like, dude, in 5 years, I'd look like ZZ Top, or I'd look like either Bin Laden or ZZ Top in 5 years.
I mean...
And you're telling me this little thin, wispy 2-inch beard that you got?
You said he was 28?
I'm like, dude, where's your testosterone? Did you just leave it at home?
I don't know.
It's like that guy had zero testosterone, couldn't grow a beard.
It's just weird. I mean,
I
but yeah, some people.
it was funny, but
Yeah.
this guy, I mean, it gets better though. He thought he was gonna be like a pro wrestler. At 28 years old, some weight on him.
You got to have some hair on your chin to be a pro wrestler, right?
Well, you would think. This guy really, I don't know. He was playing that up and everybody like telling everybody, and I'm just kind of like,
I'm the next Steve Austin.
he was material. Every time he talked, he was material. I tell you, because he used to, another thing he did that was funny was my classmate who I used to work with, James. He would just hang out with him all the time and be like real like buddy with him, and I thought that was his buddy. And he goes, "Man, this guy's following me."
I don't know what's going on, man. This guy's creeping me out.
He's like, "This dude's almost
Like stalker.
He's like, I'm like 20 years old, and this like 30-year-old's following me." And it's like, and he was like 30 too. He was like 30 something, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Dude, this guy's like following me. He's getting the same tattoos as me." And
Oh, that's
he's
creepy,
just,
man.
I mean, that's Walmart workers.
He just
101
wants to
for
be
you.
your friend.
Well, but there was some cool people I worked with over there, and some I'm still friends with today. But there were some serious like characters over there too, like some serious characters. But looking back, it just made me laugh because I'm like, dude, I've surpassed 28, and I just never would even think about wanting to be like a pro wrestler.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever. Well, okay, at one
is
point
funny.
in time, I kind of wanted to be a police officer, and at
That's
another point in
more-
time, I kind of. That's more realistic and reachable. But, I mean, I've never wanted to be like a pro, like sports star or like a
Well, it's not like this dude was.
wrestler or somebody on TV.
Well, it's not like this dude was an athlete. I ask him questions, he get mad. Like, were you like an athlete in high school or anything? He's like, no, I wasn't an athlete. What does that have to do with anything? Well, you said pro wrestler.
Well, you
so.
might want to consider
saying.
your body's capability and your physique and calculate that into this scenario if you want to be a pro wrestler or really in anything wrestler. Were you even in wrestling at any point? Do you even know how it works or the logic or ins, outs, analyze
Yeah,
what they
it-
do, other than just watching TV and watching them hit each other in the head with steel chairs, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like, were you even like, do you even know what's going on? It's just so. That dude was just totally. So and yeah, and my buddy James back then, it was so funny. He was another guy that was he was like just stopping through for a couple months. Like he got another job and quit that one after a couple months, and I don't know what he's doing today. I haven't spoken to him in like a decade or more, but
Huh.
he's another one I haven't seen around town for a while. But
Well, see, here's the thing about a town like this. Basically, you have the ones that stay and they never leave,
he's one of them.
and you know,
I can easily
you'll
say.
come back in 20, 30 years. They'll still be here somewhere doing something, something random usually.
Yeah.
And then you have the ones that they leave and they go pretty much anywhere, everywhere, wherever, until you actually come across, and that's the thing. If you don't leave a town like this, generally, after a certain age, then chances are you're going to find it more and more difficult to leave because there's going to be more and more things that are going to tie you to it. For instance, some of the people that we knew in high school, they didn't leave, and then by the time that and they stuck around. They ended up getting married, and they ended up having kids. Their
Yeah.
kids grow up here. Their wives are here. They've got jobs here to kind of support their families and that kind of stuff. And so they'll never
Yeah.
leave.
Well, it's like the hotel I'm staying at. The lady there. I knew this was going to happen if I stuck around eventually, but there was somebody who
Oh,
knew
yeah.
me through someone else, and I was like, man, I'm too connected to this town sometimes.
Still,
It's
after like almost 10 years,
Yeah,
still
it's-
connected.
like they still know me somehow. But
And I ran into that coming back from Colorado too.
And it was Garrett who
Yeah.
yeah, you know Tom
Yeah.
Garrett. He
Yeah.
we've probably known him more than we have some people here in town.
Hi, Garrett, if
Like,
you're
of
listening. He's actually one of our subs.
It was Garrett. Yeah, it was, and I'm like, it was his wife.
Yeah.
It was at the hotel. And I used to, it's so funny. I used to love Garrett. He made me laugh all the time.
Yeah, Garrett's a really cool guy. And,
him and his brother Tyler.
Yeah.
Those two, back in high school, I mean, they were just the coolest. And I remember, in particular, with Tyler. Oh, I don't want to get him in trouble, but
yeah.
So anyway, no, what I will say is, back in the day, man, a lot of girls liked him. I'm just gonna say it. I don't want to get him in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know what he's doing now. I haven't seen him in years. But
him and Tyler
so cool.
and you and I, we were always into these like death metal and like metal bands and stuff like that. And I thought that maybe Garrett was not into it so much anymore, but and I still was. I look behind you.
Yeah, you got the guitars and stuff going on.
But
here.
like, when I went over there to go see him and hang out with them, and we did the paranormal thing, he still had the guitars and the amps and stuff like that.
No
and,
kidding.
Like the metal shirts and stuff,
I heard
we didn't show any of that on the video because it was pertaining to something else. But, man, the guy's still a rocker and he's still fucking cool,
Yeah.
Well, wow, okay.
Last time I heard anything from him, gosh, I heard I don't know if they're still doing this. I heard they had like a band or something, didn't they?
Yeah, they do.
Do we want to plug
I wish we could plug their band. I can't
Yeah.
remember what it's called now.
Was it called Blood Bone Dre? Is that the one?
It might actually be.
I'm gonna have to look it up because I know that.
I'll link them in the description if I find out what their band was, because I know it's on the top of my tongue and I just can't remember what it is. But yeah, I think Tyler and Garrett are in that band, and they're brothers and they've got their own band. It's just they play some heavy stuff and it's just freaking awesome,
Those two, I just remember like every day they'd wear the band shirts and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about.
What was funny was
high school.
What was funny was that I asked them one day. I was like, "Man, where do you get all your shirts and stuff?" And I guess they have this enormous closet.
Yep.
That's just like they just kind of share this enormous closet full of like
all these band shirts,
and
Metallica, Pantera, freaking
Megadeth, all of them.
Foghat and freaking no, maybe it wasn't Foghat. It was Kickstart My Heart.
Motley Crue.
Motley Crue.
Right.
That was the one. And Twisted Sister.
He had like all of them. I was just like amazed. I was like, and back then I was kind of into the band shirt stuff too. I kind of grew out of it.
Yeah, I was into it too back then, but
it was the funniest.
I was always
thing
like,
ever.
bro, I want to borrow a shirt from you. And you're always like, no, I don't want you to borrow my shirt, man. Go get your own. Like House of Sight and Sound. We were feuding brothers back then. We had a lot of brother kind of
Oh, so
that kind of rivalry stuff going on.
So one thing I thought about when I come up here, I drove by like the middle school.
Oh yeah.
And one thing I remember that was it was the funniest thing ever. Our childhood friend, Larry.
Oh really?
Remember that time he took a crap on the front of the door?
Oh no!
Remember that?
I remember that.
I don't know if this is gonna be cut or not, but it was the funniest thing ever. Like I didn't think he was gonna do it. He
did some crazy shit.
Like he
back in the day.
Yeah, this was like some good lord, like 20 years ago or something now. But he went in front of the doors. We're like, "What are you doing?" I don't know, just
I gotta
watch.
Go to the bathroom,
Yeah, and
we were like, "Are you gonna go inside?"
Yeah, he was like trying to open the door, and it wasn't opening, and I guess they were closed.
Yeah, they're closed when they go to school.
So he just took a crap right in front of the on the door, like
and
in
you
front
remember
of
the
it.
prank calls? We pick up the payphone, guy's payphone. There was a park out here. There was a payphone, and I think there were like these various different people in our high school that were just like they were assholes or whatever. And like
we just prank call.
I don't even know how we got their number. Did we look them up or what? We got their numbers and like we prank call the shit out of them.
Yeah, and Larry had this funny voice that he used to do where they couldn't tell whether it was him or whether it was just like there was another guy that we went to school with named Jordan.
Yeah.
And it sounded like him too.
Oh god.
So he used to so Jordan would get in trouble all the time even though it was Larry doing it. And he's like, "What are you guys talking about? I didn't do anything." That's the funniest thing ever. And he just
wasn't he like a skateboard kid or something too?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Remember,
but
rich kid.
Yeah, and he Larry sounded exactly like him, and he just would sit there and he'd be like, "Well, I don't care what's going on. You're what was it? I can't even do it now." He goes, You're messing around with my girlfriend, and I don't like it.
You're
Or
messing
something
around
like
with
that.
my girlfriend. I'm gonna kick your ass. You know, that kind of thing. You
Yeah,
know?
it's just stupid stuff from like way back in the day.
Playing
But it
around.
was the funniest thing ever because he'd do that voice all the time, and then I guess this girl that or these two people that we used to prank call, they both knew Jordan, and Jordan they didn't like Jordan, so they thought it was Jordan, and Jordan's like,
It's like
"What the
really
hell are you
weird. We
talking
play
about?"
on people's assumptions and stuff when we were kids. Like they would assume things, you know, and because there's no real way to identify you on it's a public payphone, you know, and it's in a park, and it was
Yeah.
unattended, and it was usually late at night.
They eventually just took it
Yeah,
out.
they did. They did.
Because so many people were
There's
doing
so many prank calls, and it wasn't just us. It was like half the town that
Yeah.
was doing it, like the high
Yeah.
school. Like, oh god.
Eventually, the police just took it out. They were like, "No, you know what? We can't do
I
this
come up
anymore."
there one day, and I'm just walking through the park, you know, and I'm just walking out by the baseball diamond, and it's right there by the baseball diamond. There's a gazebo, and then there's a playground area inside the gazebo, and like I walk up there, and there's all these police there, and I'm like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Oh, we're removing the payphone." I'm like, "Oh, well, that kind of sucks. Now,
I was
how are we
like-
gonna make calls?" "Well, you can use your cell phone." "I don't have a cell phone. My parents won't
yeah,
give
that
me
was
one."
back in like 2002 or 3 when they were like
Yeah.
$1.5 million to get
Cell
a cell
phones were
phone.
coming out, and I remember the first cell phone I had too. God, it was a Nokia also.
It was a
This
flip
was a
phone.
Nokia,
The flip
but
phone
mine
I
was a
had.
flip phone. It had like the little orange display and the orange light up numbers, like actually
Yeah.
dial pad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like,
and
oh my god, it's got a camera phone? It's amazing! And it was like the worst quality ever.
my dad first got one of the more advanced phones in Colorado, and I remember him saying he called it a Swiss Army phone because it had a flashlight on it, and it had the numbers where you could dial still,
man.
but it was a flip phone. It had a
Tell you
flashlight on it, not very bright or anything, but yeah, he called it a Swiss Army phone. It's like,
Man.
okay,
I
yeah,
remember I thought it was just like the most... I remember the first time my best friend Jeremy, him and his dad, one day I was staying at his place, and back in like, this would have been like 2000, probably 1 or 2, whatever it was, when him and I were like best friends, when he still lived in town here. He, first time I ever seen a cell phone in my life was when I had to call mom to be like, you know, I probably better call mom to see if I need to, you know, to let her know that I'm staying over. And like, we better stop in Walmart so I can call. And he hands me this little like flipped over thing. And I was like, wait a minute. What is this? And he just hands me it, and it looks like a computer mouse.
wow,
Back then, it was a flip phone. He's like, it's a phone. I'm like, what? He's like, well, it's a phone. Well, what do you want me to do with this? Well, you're gonna
How
call
do
your
you
mom,
do
right?
this?
And I was
Yeah.
like, they were like, yeah, you never seen a cell phone before? I'm like, no.
No,
We were poor, and this was 2002, so no.
no.
I hadn't seen one before.
And in like 2002, you were like what?
I was like
You're almost
14.
30. You're
I was like
a little
14
older
back
than
then.
30 now. So
Yeah, I was like
And like
14
me.
back then. So it's been over 20 years ago.
I mean, I thought that was the coolest thing when I was 18. You know, because I was 18.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, but I would just remember that forever. Like, you know, what's this? It's like, it's a phone so you can call your mom. I was like, oh,
And
so we're
even
not
now, I
going to stop
mean-
in Walmart?
technology has come so far. Now, I mean,
Yeah.
we've got like, you know, Apple Watches and iPhones and, you know, all of this technology, you know, that we're looking at a
Most
wall of
amazing.
technology, and this stuff didn't exist back then, you know?
Now, you like their flat screen TV up here?
Oh, no.
Like,
Nothing.
I mean, I remember they had this little picture frame thing back in the day.
Yeah.
It was like, oh man, like, I remember Jeremy's dad was always like trying to get the newest stuff, trying to make himself look bigger than he was.
Oh, yeah.
Bigger and better than he was. And he'd buy this brand new stuff and had brand new cars and stuff. And
Yeah.
one day he bought this picture frame TV one day.
Mhm.
And actually, I got a couple of stories about him that was funny, but this was one of them. I remember the really bad thing about those back then is if you got like a crack or anything in those things, it would like take out the whole
yeah.
screen.
And you know what's worse about those is they're so thin, you know?
Yeah.
You make one little mistake with them and
Yeah.
the whole thing's just done. And they were like thousands of dollars back then.
Yeah.
Thousands, you know?
And it was there was one day it was so bad. He had just bought this, and they Jeremy was just being a lazy fuck and didn't. Jeremy, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but you know the truth. You were being a lazy fuck back then, at age 13 or 14, like most of us were.
Yeah.
And he just kind of grabs it out of the box and just like takes it off the tailgate and just boom onto the ground.
No. Oh no!
And just drops it on the ground, and it's in the box still. But Jeremy's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Or his dad's like, "Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, no.
Don't drop that on the ground. You probably broke it."
You probably broke it.
And it was broke, yeah.
Yeah. God.
But he returned it. He returned it and said it was already broke, and so we
Oh,
got a new
God.
one out of the deal.
There's a scapegoat for you.
Exactly. Well, and then there was another time when I lived with him for a short amount of time. His dad had a broken leg.
Oh wow.
And the reason why was because he was like heavy and tried to step off the tailgate of his truck and broke his leg.
Oh yeah.
He was like 260 pounds.
Well, that guy was always such a jerk to us.
Oh, he was. He was
know.
totally. He was worse when I get older. But, anyways, so the thing that happened was he had a broken leg and he was still recovering from it. And Jeremy and I were helping them move into their apartment in Salina. So this is back when I was like
Moving
16
with
or
a
so.
broken leg. That's like
Well, it was just mostly me and Jeremy doing the
that's
work.
like the worst nightmare.
Well, he was kind of trying to help us with this one couch, and somehow his leg ended up like underneath the couch while we were holding it.
God.
And I was like, Jeremy, whatever you do, don't let go.
Oh no.
And we ended up in this weird situation where like he was sitting kind of like this, and his leg's like out because it's broken. And the couch is like over his leg.
Oh
We're
my
trying
God.
to hold it in. We're trying to carry it in. And
Oh
I'm like,
God, could you
Jeremy-
imagine? It would hurt so bad.
yeah, we didn't drop anything.
Oh, he was.
In
oh my
hindsight-
God, you got lucky.
Oh, in hindsight, believe me, I would have had second thoughts. I'd be like, oh,
I
sorry.
think I'm just gonna run this way now. Bye. Wait, you can't chase me. You've got a broken leg.
Yeah. Well, I better hitch a ride home. That's what.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
it would have
that's
been like.
pretty much. Yep.
Jeremy, sneak me around the back and take me home.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
your dad's pissed at me, and he's an ex-army guy.
Guy's got guns.
I don't know if he had guns. He may
Really?
have. Well, he's an army guy, so he may have had guns.
Maybe. You know.
He was a jerk. I didn't care
Yeah.
for him. He's a jerk.
Yeah.
That's all I can say about him. But that sucks. Jeremy kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, he kind of did.
Well, last
I know.
time.
Last I knew,
Yeah.
he was Army, and as a result of the war and stuff, some of the stuff that he had seen, he was going through some,
Yeah.
some, a little bit of, well, PTSD type stuff, and I hope he's doing all right, because ultimately, even though he did a lot of dumb stuff when he was a kid and stuff like that,
Yeah.
he was actually a really good friend. You know, another person that I really haven't seen, like,
Yeah.
at all, Patrick.
Oh, yeah.
God only knows what happened to that guy. He used to come around when we were kids, and he used to hang out with us every once in a while. He was a young guy. He was probably,
Yeah,
well,
he's
not as
30.
young
He's
as
gonna
us,
be.
but
He's probably about our age.
somewhere in
by
there.
the time last time we seen him. No, story about Patrick actually. So
and Zach too.
yeah, well Zach he's kind of doing his own thing in the Marines, I guess now.
Yeah, he went from Navy to Marines.
Patrick.
yeah.
Well, a story about Patrick. When I started, well, after he left for Colorado.
He was another one of those rockers too,
Yeah.
metal guys.
So when I was working at a Wendy's, it was like right after he quit.
Yeah.
And that manager, I guess I brought his name up to that manager, and that
Uh-huh.
manager didn't like him.
Oh.
And yeah, my life was hell after that.
Oh shoot. Okay.
The one thing I learned real quick that day.
Yeah. Don't mention.
You better not
people.
be bringing up people's names, because you never know what the reputation was.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's really
and if they
rolling the dice.
associate you with that person, then you're in for it, man.
Yeah, it's rolling the
Jesus.
dice right there.
Yeah.
But no, it was funny. I missed out on the fun crew that was there. I was like right after that, because Dustin used to work there.
yeah.
So,
And that guy's
Dustin-
actually, he used to be a bully, and he actually became a pretty decent friend once he.
Yeah.
Now, see, that's the thing. We were talking about that a while ago with this area. Not only is it that if you don't leave here by a certain time in your life, then you eventually end up settling down and you never leave. But
it's
the other
different.
thing is, a lot of the bullies that were, they were just jerks in high school,
Mm,
middle school, even elementary school. They either changed and became better people, like more
mm,
decent, nice people, or they're in prison.
yeah,
By this time, by
or they
this
never
age.
changed.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
if they haven't ever changed, they're like heavy into drugs and that kind of stuff, and
Yeah,
that's only because they've had people that have basically, you know, um, well, it's like they have fed the beast, and
yeah.
helped them to become what they are.
Now, Dustin and I are pretty good friends today.
I have not
I
seen
don't,
him in years,
I,
like 10 years.
gosh, I'd still consider him a best friend almost today. Yeah, it's too bad. The thing with Jeremy was, I mean, last time I seen him was like in 2018 or so,
Yeah, I wonder what happened
and
to him. He's got to be around
it was
somewhere.
oh god, it was a cause for concern last time too.
Really? Why?
God, he wasn't sleeping. He was
Oh,
really restless. He was asking me a bunch of questions about when I was leaving, and
wow.
he was really in bad
How long
shape.
ago was that?
About 4 years ago,
Wow.
like around 4 years ago. I was still a
Was
student
that
then.
here or was that in like
That was in
Lawrence or
Tulsa. That was in
Tulsa?
Tulsa. Yeah.
Wow.
So he'd lived down in Tulsa for a
So a
while.
lot of these guys went down to Oklahoma. I
Yeah, he went.
noticed.
Him in particular, he was down in Tulsa area, and the first time that me and Troy went down there, remember,
Mm-hmm.
several
Yeah,
years ago,
remember that.
he was in a nice little place. Like him and his cousin, which that kind of leads to another story. But him and his
Oh
cousin's
wow.
kind of. His cousin was kind of,
Yeah.
without saying too much, he was a little out there. But
A lot of people that are a little out there.
yeah, without going into too much detail, he was boy, what a mess.
Yeah.
Anyways, so he was living with him for a while, and well, leading into that out there thing, it didn't work out. And then, so he ended up in, he ended up getting a place with another friend of his, Eric, and this was after he got divorced and everything.
Yeah.
This is all after he got divorced. Got married, had a kid, and was divorced all within a year, two
All
years,
within a year. That's
like
crazy.
2 years. It was really bad. But so anyways, I seen him again, and he was in really bad shape. I mean, he just didn't look like he'd taken care of himself. I mean, he looked like he was in rough shape, and I felt so bad. I was like, I wanted to see him really bad, but boy, not like that.
Yeah.
But
And I've had a few friends like that's happened to. And I mean, there's one of them that stands out to me. I mean, my friend Dennis,
yeah,
like 30 years, and
he's been on the channel before.
yeah, he
He's
has.
been on the channel.
He's been on the channel, and we actually had made a couple of videos together. And
Yeah,
he ended up getting with this girl that was into drugs and stuff. She got him hooked up on drugs, and then she dumped him, and then he remained hooked up on drugs while she went into rehab and got cleaned up, and then
yeah,
he became homeless and ended up hanging out with these people that were also involved with drugs, like heavy duty drugs, and
yeah,
ended up nearly getting killed as a result of it. His family ended up disowning him, and I
yeah.
mean,
That's tough. I mean, you talk about people who are addicts. I
the
mean, it's
decisions
just
that people make
so
initially,
bad.
and they affect them the rest of their lives. And unfortunately, there's no way to you know. And here's the thing. I mean, you can offer somebody like that help all you want, but until they decide that for themselves they want to take that help, and I mean, I offered help multiple times. I was, he's like, no, man, I'm okay, I'm good.
Yeah,
That's all I ever got, and it just went further and further downhill. And I mean, he's alive still, but he's somewhere else, and I haven't seen him in probably at least a good maybe 5 to 7 years. And
yeah. Been a long time.
now he's got a criminal record, and he's been to jail multiple times. He might have actually been to prison a couple times. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that was the thing that Troy and I were talking about a while back ago. Um, Man, he was one of the things. One of the things that Troy and I get on all kinds of subjects when he talks. Or Troy boy,
Yeah.
we get on all kinds of subjects. It's kind of we travel around, I guess, when we talk.
Yeah.
And one of the things we talked about was we were talking about Reddit again.
Oh, Reddit.
Yeah, we talked about that. And
We have a Reddit.
oh, you, wait,
It's
that is,
reddit.com/r85 studios.
it's like TikTok without videos
Yeah,
sometimes,
pretty much.
or there can be videos, but
We also have a TikTok we just got.
oh man, TikTok is I don't even know.
TikTok
Is
85 studios.
I could watch TikTok all day, but I just don't want
It's
to waste
so
my life.
addictive. It's like you scroll, watch, scroll, watch, scroll, watch. It's bad. It's like a drug.
It's not good for you.
I would never do anything else in my life if it weren't for the fact that I catch myself watching TikTok and shut it down, put it down.
Yeah, I
You know?
was actually going to ask you if you had TikTok. Now they have like so where I work at, they have these celebrity birthdays and stuff.
Mhm.
I look for you to be on there someday as a YouTube star, because they have
Oh
YouTube
my
stars,
gosh.
TikTok stars, Twitch stars.
Well,
I'm
that's-
like,
if we get enough
how's-
people and enough people learn
well-
about us and all that, but
Tell you now you've made it.
we've been doing it like 7, 8 years now, and we've got like what 240 people.
What's funny too is like these Twitch and TikTok. A lot of them are just really like, some of them are not even like 13 years old. I'm like,
Yeah,
how are they a star?
and that kind of, I don't know if that's a good thing necessarily, because
no,
if you
probably
think about
not.
it, what happens to a lot of child actors and people that are
Yeah.
famous when they're really young? Like, before they're mature enough to understand the weight of the situation,
Here's the other thing. This one friend of mine, she goes, I was saying something about TikTok stars. She goes, I just started TikTok 2 weeks ago and I got 250 followers.
I haven't been really
That's not-
posting on TikTok a whole lot for 85 Studios, only just
That-
like short clips of like
Yeah,
other
that's-
videos from
she-
YouTube.
She starts laughing. She's like, "That's not an accomplishment. I got 250 followers. I started 2 weeks ago."
Participation award,
Yeah,
pretty much.
that's about it. There's not much to really be proud of there.
Not really.
Because we had one guy just bragging all over the place, like, "Yeah, I'm a TikTok star.
I'm a TikTok
It's like,
star."
you and a lot of other people, apparently.
You and about half the country.
Anybody who has TikTok is probably a TikTok star at
I
this
think it's
point.
pretty random, and I think because the videos are kind of random, they get more
It's
like,
just-
I don't think
yeah.
it's really based on anything. It's just random. You scroll, you slide up.
It's
you
like
know?
it's tumor inducing, if you ask me. Like, you just watch through it, and it's
Oh,
like,
what was that
if I
you
watch
said
this-
about it earlier? Something to the effect of you lose brain cells.
Oh man, like every
Oh
time,
God!
yeah, with every swipe, I mean, you lose like 10% of your brain cells.
Out of existence. Oh, there's 2 more.
Code
As you're swiping
404. Code 404 error.
404, not
Does-
found.
It's not found.
You have to have a connection. Now it's one thing to have brain cells, but it's quite another to have those brain cells connect in a way that there is some logic. Like you can actually rationalize things and do things logically. That's not there with a lot of people, and I always thought it was, but it's just not there with a lot of people, and
Said that.
I just couldn't figure out why for the longest time.
Yeah, they said that the brain
Things
waves.
like TikTok.
Said there weren't very many brain waves, but I'm like, how much of that was already there?
I mean,
I mean, how much? How many brain cells did he already?
how much
have?
damage can we possibly do with radio waves to a brain?
Yeah. It's
I mean,
pretty
the
bad.
answer is probably a lot. I mean, let's be honest, it's probably a lot. And like they say that the longer your brain is idle without like doing anything or any kind of calculation or actual active thinking, it's actually doing damage to your brain and to your
Yeah.
brain cells and to your neurons and stuff. And then they say things like, while you're watching TV, they've measured people's brain activity, and it is literally zero.
Yeah.
Like, none. So It kind of stands to reason.
You
I
know,
think maybe it makes sense a
you
little
know,
bit.
the funny thing is, like, nowadays, here's the other thing too. The thing about with all of us, like, we grew up in a different generation. Like, we grew up, like, we talked about the cell phones,
Oh
how
yeah,
they were just like
yeah,
flip phone, they barely existed. This would have been like early 2000s, that kind of thing. The funny thing about that's today, it's like I'm so lost on what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do with schools. It's like, well, all right, put
yeah,
your cell phones away, and I'm like, God, they didn't even have those when I was a kid.
yeah. Put your cell phones away,
It's like
and
if you had a cell phone, you were
like,
rich back in the day. You were
yeah,
rich if
like
you
your
had
family
one.
must have been like,
You were loaded if you had a cell phone back in 2000, 2001,
and you're talking
2002.
like, why would you buy a house? Like, why would you buy a cell phone before you buy a house?
Exactly.
That kind of stuff. So they're gonna have like great big old houses and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, and like Jeremy's dad, he was just in debt, like a million fucking, like a
Yeah.
million dollars. He's like, yeah, I bought this new car and this new whatever and new technology. This I don't even know what this does, and I have
I don't
it.
even
You
know what
know,
this does, and I have it. Yeah.
like what does that thing do? I don't know.
It's like an
Why'd you buy
episode
it?
of MTV Cribs, only with like tech.
Yeah, he totally did that to me one day, like way back when him and I
I got
first.
this. I don't even know what this does, but I got it. You
Yeah,
know,
that's what he did too.
pretty
He's like,
much.
had this big old pool in the back. He's like, yeah, you can hang out in our pool and do this and that. And then he goes, yeah, you know what this does? Like, yeah, I just bought it.
Like
I'm like, well,
people
how do you
living
even?
above their means, and
Yeah,
for no reason, they're racking up, like thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt
I'm probably
for
still in debt.
no reason.
I mean, this
Yeah.
it's not like this guy's mentality changed at all. He's
And you know
probably
what's
still in
worse
debt.
about that is technology. Like, if you buy a $1,000 cell phone today,
Yeah.
and then you wait about 20 years, that same cell phone is going to be worth
Oh,
about $10,
so
maybe, if
so
that.
check this out. Another true story involving this guy. So when I was helping him move out of the house, this would have been back in like 2003. He was cheating on his wife or something.
Oh,
But anyways, I was helping him move out, and he's like, hey, can you do me a favor? Come downstairs. So they had like a basement, and I went to the basement, and he's like, okay, can you reach up to? There's this little space in the ceiling. Can you reach up there and grab whatever's up there? And I was like, well, okay. I reached up there, and there was like some kind of tape,
tape?
like a cassette, like
Oh,
not like a cassette, but like a, you know what I mean, like one of those tapes.
like a videotape? Like
Yeah,
VHS?
yeah, like a VHS tape.
Oh, okay.
And to this day, I'm like, I wonder what the heck is on that tape.
Like, did you guys ever watch it or anything?
No, I have no idea what happened to it, but he wanted me to get a tape out from there. And I was like,
Huh.
well, wait a minute. I
Well,
bet this is incriminating evidence of some kind.
was it like what context? I mean,
Well, it was just a blank tape. It would,
no
if
stickers
it
on it,
was,
nothing?
yeah, if it wasn't important, he probably would have just got it himself or left it there.
Well, like, if it wasn't important, then why did he want it?
Yeah, it
You
was.
know?
Yeah, it's the strangest thing. I'm like, well, wait a minute, what was on that tape? And he's like, and I asked too. I'm like, well, what's this for? And he says, oh, don't worry about it. I'll get rid of it.
Don't worry about it, I'll get rid of it.
Yeah, I think it was a cheating tape. I don't know.
Like a sex tape?
Well, maybe I don't know.
Well, when you record yourself having sex
now-
with somebody other than your wife,
Yeah.
that's probably not a good idea.
Well, and that was my suspicion. Here's another story I'll
Wow.
tell you. When I was working at the Tyson plant like years ago.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so I may have told you this story, or I may have told Troy. I can't remember who I told what anymore.
I don't know.
But so this one coworker of mine, his name was Paul. He was in his like 60s back then. I don't even know if he's alive today. It's been over 15 years ago or more.
Yeah?
But he told me this story that was just hilarious. He said that he had back in the day when VHS tapes were first coming out and starting to get big back in the 70s. He was like in high school or something. So his dad had a bunch of like, porno tapes.
Oh, no. Okay.
And what was funny was his friends were like wanting to borrow some one day. So he snuck into his dad's place and just grabbed the tape. Didn't even know what it was, and just gave it to his friends. And he said, all right, here you go. Well, the next day, his friends are just kind of staring at him when he's in school. He's like, he's like, remember that tape you let us borrow?
Oh no.
He goes, yeah, what about it? He says, your dad's on it.
Oh no.
He goes, really? He says, wait a minute, my dad's on there? He says, yeah. So, is like my mom on there too? He says, no, your dad's just in his robe and like, just masturbating.
Oh God.
And, well, it gets better. So that happened, right? And he goes, so what happened was he goes, okay, so he takes the tape back, sets it back, forgets about it, and nobody ever borrows from him again because of that
Well,
experience.
yeah, I don't blame him.
Well, several years later, his dad dies.
Oh,
Back
no.
in like 2003 or so. This was
Yeah.
2008 when this happened, but 2003, his dad dies. He gets the truck, and they auction stuff out of the house.
Yeah.
Well, they auction the VHS tapes.
Oh no.
And so his story he told me was somewhere out there, his dad is somewhere
Oh my
out there,
God.
somewhere out there, his dad is
His deceased
his
father is out
tape.
there masturbating on somebody's TV. Whether they enjoyed that or not, it's there. Like,
yeah. That's he'd say this all the time.
Somebody must have watched it at some point.
He would say this all the
Wow.
time. He'd be like, somewhere out there, he's
Home movies.
yeah. This is back in the day when you could just record over stuff. So hopefully, maybe somebody just recorded over that
Hopefully.
with
Hopefully.
like kids programming or something. I don't know.
With-
Like cartoons like us.
Hopefully there's no breaks in that recording programming, but yeah.
Just put some cartoons on like we used to when we were kids.
Elmo.
Cartoons followed by a movie like RoboCop or Hard to
Yeah.
Kill or something, because that's how it went, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was-
we had some wild VHS tapes back when we were kids. Nothing like that.
Let's be clear. Nothing like
Let's say that right here now. Nothing like that. Not that wild.
no.
But, we had some VHS tapes where we'd have multiple different movies. We'd have like cartoons recorded on them, like Tom and Jerry. We'd be watching Tom and Jerry, and then all of a sudden RoboCop would break in, and like after that we'd have like
Hard to Kill was one of them.
Yeah, like
one of the Chuck Norris ones, Silent Rage.
Silence Rage, yeah,
That was a good
stuff
one.
like that, or whatever.
Like
And,
some violent,
something
like
crazy that
horrible,
kids really shouldn't watch, but we watched a bunch
like
of
the
movies
movie,
anyway.
like that movie Commando with Arnold.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, that
Yeah.
like he's like it cuts in right when he's murdering those guys or something. Like, wait a
Randomly cuts in. We recorded off the TV, so
minute.
yeah.
Like I
And
thought we were
like our parents did a really good job because they like hated advertisements, so they would always cut the commercials out and stuff, So,
ahead of its time.
yeah.
I tell you, ahead of its time.
Yeah, it was kind of wild, but yeah, I'm absolutely, guys, I'm absolutely so happy to meet up with my brother again. I haven't seen him in like years, and bro, it's really, really good to see you again.
Yeah.
It's great to hang out and have fun, hang out and just do whatever. And I mean, I hope that I get to see you again real soon. And I'll keep in touch with you and everything, and kind of go through some of the memories that we've had, and
Oh, man.
growing up, and
We could
that
go
kinda
for
stuff.
we could go
We
for
could
another
go-
hour.
we could go for another hour and maybe
Yeah.
a day even, talking about some of this crazy stuff. But unfortunately, we're gonna have to go here. So you guys all, thank you for listening. Thank you for hitting like, commenting on the channel, and subscribing. Thank you to everybody that's new out there. And it's been great having you here, bro.
Oh yeah, it's been
Trouble
fun.
couldn't make it, but he'll be here on the next podcast, or it'll just be me. I don't know. Somebody. We'll figure something out. We'll play it by ear. But you all have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, wherever you are, whatever time it is, and remember, be true to yourselves. And we'll see you then. Podcast out.